Hello again, everyone. Today I'm taking you to a portion in Matthew 9 and verse 35 following, which says this: Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he was moved with compassion for them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep having no shepherd. It was Isaiah the prophet who long ago said, "All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way." Shepherdless sheep inevitably get themselves into trouble. Now, sheep are not particularly dumb, but they do easily stray and get into trouble. They wander, nibbling at this and that green shoot, distracted and unaware of dangerous places or storms or ice and snow or snakes or predators or waterless places. And when sheep stray, they're being led by their eyes and their stomach. Their appetite governs both their direction and their destination. And that's why God likens us to sheep. A result of humankind's fall into disobedience was the loss of the garden, pictured as the place of protection and safety and security, of plenty and of peace and of provision, and indeed of God's presence, the nearness of the shepherd. But we decided we didn't need the one whom we're told walked in the garden in the cool of the day. We could go it alone. The consequences were that we lost both our garden and our guardian. Actually, the garden had two presences: Creator who walked in it, enjoying his material creation, and the tempter who was permitted limited access. You see, it's always necessary to learn that everything of beauty and truth and productivity and true worth has a price. It can be kept or lost. It's ours to keep or to throw away cheaply. Today we live in a milieu of that fails, a kind of mindset that fails to see the truth and beauty of what has been given, or even what has been won at great cost. So when some cheap alternative is dressed up or gift wrapped, many people, just like Eve and Adam, opt for that, only to find they've lost the garden and the guardian. So there are on offer cheap and tawdry alternatives to, for example, marriage and family, alternatives hedged about with options and escape clauses, options that don't necessarily require commitment or self-givenness or sacrifice and committed work. There are too all kinds of offers of material wealth and independence, and offers of fame or notoriety, and offers of escape from responsibility and accountability. All are offers that tempt people to a decision to go it alone, just like the one that came to Eve and Adam when they were told, "You'll become as God." Offers to divert our eyes from the value of that which we already have, or that which is offered by God, and into or onto a shabby pretense. And when, like sheep, our destination is always dictated and determined by our appetites, it's because we either lack or refuse our shepherd. Like sheep without a shepherd, our appetites more often than not take us into dangerous territory and amongst predators. A sad reality, of course, is that many allow their appetites to be their guide or their shepherd, even abandon themselves to those appetites. They are what determine where they end up. Now, everyone looks somewhere for direction. They look for certainty. They look for guidance. But if they look to empty guides or things which cannot guide, they're actually being led astray and into difficulty. God made us as an analogue of himself, made to respond to him, to function in connection and in concert with him. And a repeated and simple image of that truth throughout the Bible is that of a shepherd with his sheep. An almost symbiotic relationship, except that God does not need us, but we certainly need him. His attitude toward us is a deep desire for us to embrace him as our shepherd. You have this image in Moses, in the prophets, in the Psalms, especially with David, of course, in his most intimate expression, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not have lack. He leads me beside quiet water. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He restores my soul." And what Jesus saw that day that moved him with compassion was something that was evident in the crowds of people. Their state or condition was evident to him. They were described as harassed and helpless, the behaviours that characterise sheep with no shepherd to guide or guard them. The Greek words are skulo, meaning vexed or trouble-weary, and ripto, meaning rejected or cast away. And Matthew tells us that Jesus was travelling through the towns and the villages, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing every disease and sickness. The man of sorrows, the one known as the man of sorrows, was acquainting himself with the grief he had come to palliate. And his response was compassion. The Greek word means to be moved and to actually feel with one's inward organs, and demonstrates the authentic humanity of Jesus. Today, Jesus still walks the streets and avenues of our towns and cities, seeing and feeling the self-same conditions evident everywhere, and his deep, deep response, now coming from both his very human nature and his God nature, is compassion. He sees people investing in one or another of a seemingly inexhaustible procession of lies that promise some satisfaction or acceptance or completion, only to find that, like the alluring aroma of good pipe tobacco, there is next to no substance behind the promise. Ungratified hope has led some of them to live their lives blaming others for their situation, or to live in some cases in self-recrimination and self-condemnation. They are vexed and dejected, often pretending that the next enticement will fix things for them, when actually all they need is a shepherd. That one who can provide direction to green pastures and still waters, can provide assurance of protection and purpose, and most of all, provides hope. And in our streets, cities and towns, this shepherd's cry can and will still be heard by those with ears made ready by the harassments, the injustices, the rejections of our trouble-plagued world. His cry is, "Come to me, all who are worn out and depleted or weighed down, and I will give you rest." When we do come, we discover his promises to be truer than we could ever dream of. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment if you wish. And God bless you and give you his rest today. Amen.